All right, this is practice video number 8, and we are looking at data types and variable assignment statements. Now, we have been doing assignment statements this entire time, every time we copied and pasted something into our Eclipse, but I need you to understand how the assignment statement works. All right, so I'm going to make this window large, and we're going to look at this. So in an assignment statement, the receiver is always on the left side of the assignment operator. So this is the receiver. It's on the left side of the single equal sign. So anytime you are trying to place a value into a variable, you use one equal sign. Okay, and we will look at later using a double equal sign, and that double equal sign is going to be read as equal to. So the single equal sign means that you're assigning a value. Okay, so 57 is being placed into the receiver. 239423 is being placed into the receiver. Okay, now a data type must be placed in front of the variable name in order to define it. You have to tell it what type of variable you want. Do we want an integer? Do we want a double? Do we want a float? Do we want a string? That's really important. You have to give it a variable data type. So the first thing you're going to do is you have to declare your variables. Int num, double number. Those are all things that have to be done before you can put a value into a variable. And one of the things that I have a saying for it is that you can declare a variable without assigning a value, but you cannot assign without declaring. And it's really, really important that you understand that. Okay, so you can declare without assigning, but you cannot assign without declaring. Okay, so that statement is very important. Okay, you can declare without assigning, but you cannot assign without declaring. I'm going to hound you on that one, okay? So right here we have our declaration, int num. That's a single declaration. That's all we're doing is we are saying we want an integer value and we want to give it the name num. Here I'm saying int num equal 99. I am giving it a data type of int, I'm giving it a variable name num, and I am assigning the value of 99 into num. Now the last thing on here is just an assignment by itself. Num equals 56. So we can actually declare a number at the top, int num or int num equal 99, and then later on change it to something else, num equal 56, which is just an assignment only. Remember, you can declare without assigning, you cannot assign without declaring. Okay, so now we are going to create a new class file, and we're going to call it assignment and copy the information below. Okay, and let's go over to our Eclipse. So we have data types open from earlier. You can use that if you want to, if you don't want to create a whole new program. But remember, creating a new class file is very simple. You just go to File, New, Class. You're going to give it a name, and right here I said call it assignment. And then you check on the public static void main string args. Now if you don't do that, if you leave that off, so let's just see that one time. If you just leave it off, it's going to create your program. It's going to take it a second, and bam, there it is. It creates your program, but it doesn't put in the main method. And so in order to you can either go and copy it off another program, because you always want to make sure that you type it in correctly, and that's where copy paste is your friend comes in, because you never know, you could type it wrong and then you have to go back and fix it. So if you just copy it from another program, come back over to the one you're working on, paste it in, make sure, notice that it's got these two little arrows here, and it's like, whoa, wait a second, you've got this open bracket and here's a closed bracket, but then you have this statement here and you need to fix it. So you just go in and you put in your closing bracket. Oh, sorry, it automatically gives you a closing bracket when you put in an open bracket. So now we have our program's perfectly fine. There's no more little red X's. All right, so what we're going to do is come back over to the website, and we've got this int num equals 75, comma, big number equals 99. Now, it is possible if you have more than one integer value that you are declaring, you don't have to say int number equals 75, int big num equal 99. If you put everything on one line and just put a comma in between them, then you can create a variable, or I'm sorry, you can declare a variable only using the int one time. Okay, so now we're going to come and get our double H-town, and you could copy the whole thing at one time if you wanted to, and just paste this in. And I'm just going to take out some of the space. It's not necessary to take out the space. You can leave the space. It's up to you. It's just how you want to look at your code. That's something that we'll talk about more later, is spacing and how you can view it. It's just, a lot of it is preference, but there are some standards like the indentation that we talked about earlier in the beginning of the lessons. All right, so right here I've got double H-town, tax equals 8.25, and you know, you could always, if you added more to it, there could be more in there. Double numbers can go longer than that. Char big A equals capital A, little a equals a little a. Boolean is prime equals false. So now I have string s equals ABC. So, you know, I'm doing all of our data type, or not all the data types, I'm doing the ones that we use the most. So I put a string in there. Notice that a string always has double quotes or quotation marks, not the single quotation mark like up here for a character. Okay, now here we have system.out.println number. I'm going to print my number, which is 75. I'm going to print big num, which is 99. Right here, remember we talked about printf, and it had the parentheses s comma x, and that you printed out x based on what s said. So right here we have %.2. So we're telling it that we want two places past the decimal point. Okay, system.out.println big A, little a is prime, and then s. So we're going to compile this, and we're going to run it. And here we go. So I want you to notice something. We've got 75, 99, 8.25. I added 0.6 on here, but the specification said %.2f. So that was literally saying, I want this to be two places past the decimal point. So if I wanted that entire number, 0.6, on the end of it, I could change this to 4 places past the decimal point, rerun this, and now I get all the number. And if I change this, let's change this to a 5, okay, and we're going to go back to 2 places past the decimal point, run it again, and now it, because the tax is 8.2556, the 6 made the 5 go to 6, the 5 makes the other 5 go to 6, so now we have 8.26. Okay, so it's very, very important that you understand that this %.2 is telling it places past the decimal point. Okay, okay, so just for review, we let's scroll back up here. In a variable assignment statement, you must give it a data type. Integer is a data type, double, string, boolean, char, float, those are all data types. Then you give it a name. Make sure that your names are descriptive. It's an identifier, so identifiers need to be descriptive of what you're trying to place in them. And then you can give it a value, or later on assign a value to the variable. So we can declare without assigning, but we cannot assign without declaring. And that is all for practice 8. We're on practice 8. So if you have any questions, just contact me.